15, it will be raining drones and smartphones, but many, including young people, will still be reading good old-fashioned paperback books. Every year, Deloitte looks at technology, media and telecoms trends. The latest report came out today. So for a quick discussion, we're joined by Deloitte's leader for the TMT industry, Arun Babu. Thank you for joining us, Arun. So let's start with drones, because I think a lot of people are scared of drones. We know about them for military use, but you're talking about companies increasingly using drones.
Absolutely. It's no longer a scary phenomenon. We're going to have 300,000 drones being added into the use in this year, making it almost 1 million drones in usage by end of the year.
Sure.
I mean, it's being used for various purposes. You've probably seen them being used for filming sporting events, in cricket.
Yeah.
And you'll continue to see more advanced usage of it, inspecting buildings, and it continues to be used by varying industry segments.
Of course, drones mean that it's so easy to survey people. Is this the year we're all going to become paranoid about the use of drones?
It's still a very small number compared to the population, and the usage is still pretty niche. However, regulators are looking continuously at how it should be governed, because there's a security reason and concern of monitoring drones as well.
So a few years ago, something else was outlandish. That was 3D printing. So you take these digital specs, you produce something without the big machines that you need in factories. What's it being used for right now? How exciting is 3D printing?
A few years ago, everyone predicted that's going to become a factory in every home, and that hasn't turned out to be the case. The use of 3D printing is still pretty much business-oriented. Companies are using it to create easy prototypes. You suddenly can have a jewelry store that can make jewelry in any size while the customer is waiting, and those sort of use cases are continuously increasing.
Okay, so still pretty exciting.
It's still very exciting.
But the predictions aren't there. The predictions aren't there for people moving to online books either. Just tell me about that.
That's a surprising one. So a few years ago, everyone predicted the demise of the printed physical book, and the rise of the e-books was meant to be the death knell for that. However, that hasn't happened. This year, we're predicting that 80% of the books sold and revenue generated will be the traditional printed books that we are used to using.
That is incredible, because a lot of people are looking at films online, using podcasts. So I guess there's some things moving forward, some people preferring the old-fashioned way.
I mean, music has certainly moved online. The book has been a different phenomenon. It hasn't moved online as much as we had expected a few years ago. Even the millennials, the 18 to 35-year-olds, are still preferring to use physical books just as much as the elder population. Online
shopping as well is one of those things that there seem to be these huge predictions, and it also hasn't happened. Again, not the momentum that people thought it would have.
In South African context, certainly we are still lagging behind the global market. There's been a significant uptake in online shopping. And what we're seeing this year is more the rise of the click and collect model, where you're not physically delivering to the homes, but a significant increase in click and collect, where you choose a destination.
Explain it, yeah.
So
because you're saying it's big in Europe already,
yes.
So this may be a future trend for us.
Absolutely. So if you look at the lifestyle in London using the subway, people connect their shopping experience with having collection points along their daily routes. So you can have a mobile phone, order your grocery while you're at work, on your way home, stop after the subway station, pick up the grocery from a pickup point that is designated to you, and you go home on a regular routine.
But you do say it's a challenge for the retailers to have that all prepared, ready at the door.
The costing model and the logistics around click and collect are extremely complex, and the retailers are still getting to grips with how best to control the commercials around it, and that's the challenge retailers are facing.
Okay, let's move on to telephones.
Sure.
You're saying smartphones over 1 billion this year? It's staggering.
Yeah, I mean, there's 1 billion upgrades alone. So people upgrading from one version of smartphones to a higher one is going to be over 1 billion smartphones. And that's happening across the world, not just in developed markets.
Well, what I like is that you say that the battery charge will be looked at, and I'm so pleased, because it's a huge bugbear. I'm always charging my phone.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. It won't be a significant increase. One of the basic behavioral reasons...
Why can't they just jump and fix the problem?
You would change your smartphone much less often. So having your smartphone battery die is one of the primary reasons why people change smartphones.
Sure.
There's no commercial reason to look at it in depth.
Sure. And just an opinion, do you think that Apple will continue to dominate? We've seen Samsung coming up, or I guess the market, if it explodes, there could be a whole range of smartphones doing the same thing, like we're already seeing, but at much lower prices.
Apple and Samsung still will have a dominant position in this year. However, there are many manufacturers coming from places like China, Hong Kong, that are starting to really make traction. And there's a specific manufacturer in China that is actually taking the world by storm in terms of market traction.
What about another trend predicted a while ago, that you would walk to stores and we'd all be paying with our phones, not carrying cards anymore, not carrying cash? Where are we on that progression? Because we do have the smartphone wallets.
It's also been a slow take-up. However, in 2015, we were making a bold prediction that 10% of all smartphones will be used for a contactless payment by end of the year. And that's a significant market considering how many smartphones are out there.
Well, when will we move to purely digital payments, do you think?
We're still a long way away from that.
All right, finally, just anything else interesting? I mean, we've heard about the Internet of Things, where you drive home, your smartphone tells your fridge that you're driving home, or switches on the oven, or whatever you need. Is that still well into this future, this idea of everything talking to each other, all your devices?
The theme of our predictions this year, and the trend we have seen, is what we're almost calling the enterpriseization of IT, almost meaning previously, for the last 10 years, we've been talking about consumerization of IT, consumers driving the use of IT and the business models behind it. We're seeing smart watches, smart glasses, all being used by enterprises more than consumers, and that is the biggest trend we're seeing this year.
Okay, so it's moving from consumers back to business, basically. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. That was Arun Babu from Deloitte.
Thank you.